This is the case study presentation for class EDL 601 by Jillian Edwards. Student profile. I had the pleasure of observing a female student named Jamie. Jamie is 6.5 years old and in a second grade ESL classroom. Jamie is an only child who enjoys the time she gets to spend with her cousins, whom she calls her brothers and sisters. Jamie lives in Brooklyn with her mother, grandmother, and grandfather. Jamie's father travels for work and does not currently live with the family. Jamie speaks Mandarin, Cantonese, and English. Her performance level is identified as expanding, which means that she shows independence in advancing her academic language skills in English. Jamie is an extremely motivated and hardworking student. She's always willing to help her classmates with schoolwork. She frequently helps the teacher communicate with students who do not understand English. She also helps other students communicate with each other. Jamie exhibits a heightened sense of maturity and compassion towards others. Jamie translates for her mother and grandparents in most situations. She states that she wants to learn English so that she can teach her grandmother more words so that they can play Monopoly together. She is very creative and enjoys art, gym, swimming, running, and the color pink. When she grows up, she would like to be a police officer. Jamie's academic background. Jamie has been in the same school since kindergarten. She was in a dual language classroom for both kindergarten and first grade, but because of school spacing issues, she was placed in an ESL classroom and not the dual language classroom for second grade. This struck me as a bit odd, seeing as though usually the class travels together. But when I dug a little deeper with the teacher, I was able to find that because of the lack of self-advocacy among Jamie and with her family, that she was kind of displaced because she didn't have someone really speaking for her. Jamie speaks fondly about her time in a dual language classroom and states that Chinese was her favorite subject in school and that she misses her friends in her old class. Currently, Jamie is on a G reading level, according to the Fontes and Pinnell reading assessment. This reading level is about 2 levels below the grade expectations. She does well in math, but gets confused when she has to complete word problems or has to solve a problem with written directions that were not read aloud. Jamie also receives ESL push-in services 4 times a week by a licensed ESL teacher. Jamie's ability to read and write trails her oral language skills. Audio samples for Jamie. The first question that I'm going to play is, do you use Chinese to help other students? Do you use Chinese to help other students?
Yeah.
You do? What do you help them with?
When the teachers say English that time, the new student do not know, I could tell him what does teacher say.
Okay, so you use Chinese to tell the students, your friends, what the teacher is saying in English. The second audio sample, Jamie answers the question, who do you live with? Do you speak Chinese or English with them? All right, who lives with you at home?
Mommy, grandma, grandpa,
Yeah?
and me.
And you? Okay. And grandma and grandpa speak Chinese too? Or do they only speak Chinese to you? Or they speak English too?
I have to teach them, then they could say English.
Oh, wow, you're a great teacher. Is there a friend in... As you can see, Jamie's oral skills do have a bit of fluency issues. Also, during her oral language sample, I could tell that she was thinking about words in Chinese and translating them to English or trying to find the words in English to express what she was feeling. Last audio sample. What would you like to do when you grow up? What do you want to be when you grow up?
A police?
Why do you want to be a police person?
Because I want to catch bad guys.
Wow, Christy, that's
and
great.
sometimes they have to run, and I like to run.
As you can see, Jamie has a formed idea of what she would like to be when she grows up. She added a detail about why she would like to be a police officer, and it shows her protective nature. This is an oral language rubric that I was using to assess Jamie's oral language. The following categories are what were determined to be the most important when looking at oral language: pronunciation, delivery and attitude, content, fluency, and grammar. Jamie's writing samples. The writing prompt was, "What would you like to do today after you leave school?" Jamie wrote, "Today I will go swimming with my family because so long I didn't swimming, so that's why I want to go swimming." Writing sample 2. Writing prompt. Would you rather live in a place with cold weather or hot weather? Why? Jamie wrote, I will rather to live in both of them because if I live in cold place, I can play with snow, but maybe I will get sick. If I live in a hot place, I will be so hot, but if I live in both, I wouldn't be so hot and I wouldn't get sick, so that's why I want to live in both of them. Writing sample 3. Imagine you are a leaf. What are some of the places you might go? If I am leaf, in fall, maybe someone will pick me on the tree. Maybe some bugs will eat me, and maybe someone will step on me. This is a writing rubric that I was assessing Jamie's written work with. It, it looks at punctuation and capitalization, grammar, spelling, transitional words, content, and ideas. Analyzing the data, oral language. Jamie uses translanguaging between Mandarin and English to help think through problems. I believe she also uses translanguaging to express her cultural identity when communicating with friends and family. Jamie acts as a language broker for her family and classmates. Her oral language skills in both Mandarin and English serve as a tool of empowerment in her life. Jamie utilizes every opportunity to practice both English and Mandarin and is understood in both languages by teachers and her peers. Written language. Jamie struggles when writing complex sentences in English. Her organization of ideas, while sequential, is often missing signal and transitional words. Jamie also struggles with the grammatical and syntactical structure of English. Her vocabulary is limited, which makes her writing seem repetitive and more simplistic compared to her oral language. Jamie struggles when it comes to reading English as well. She is 2 reading levels below the grade average. Jamie has retained very few of her literacy and writing skills in English. What is translanguaging? Bilingual students sometimes translanguage, which means that they make use of their full linguistic repertoires, including features from multiple languages. Translanguaging is not simply switching from one language code to another. Instead, students use one language repertoire from which they select features strategically to communicate effectively. Translanguaging aids in meeting the communicative and academic needs in English and other languages. Translanguaging takes the position that language is action and practice, and not just a system of structures and a discrete set of skills. Connecting SLA theories. The common underlying proficiency. Cummins believed that in the course of learning one language, a child acquires a set of skills and implicit metalinguistic knowledge that can be drawn upon when working in another language. Common underlying proficiency is what Cummins calls these skills and knowledge. In the chart below, labeled Reference 1, you can see that the CUP is the base for the development of both the first language and second language. Connecting SLA theories. Zone of proximal development. Vygotsky states that language develops primarily from social interaction. He argued that in a supportive, interactive environment, children are able to advance to a higher level of knowledge and performance. The zone of proximal development, or ZPD, is the place where Vygotsky says children could do more than they would be capable of independently. What I interpret this as is that there's a zone where children will start to learn because they are unable to do something by themselves, which means that they are not bored with the material, meaning that it's too easy, and they're not getting frustrated with the material, meaning that it's too difficult for them. But instead, they're in this perfect zone where, with instruction, they are able to achieve success rather quickly. He stressed that the importance of conversations that children have with adults and with other children, and saw these conversations as the origins of both language and thought. Vygotsky viewed thought as internalized speech, and speech emerged in social interaction. Action plan. Supporting Jamie's oral proficiency. According to Cummins, a student like Jamie should be encouraged to continue their native language development in order to better understand both languages. A strong relationship between Jamie's teacher and family must be created in order to best support Jamie's acquisition of her native language in order to further support her English skills. Jamie should have the opportunity to read and discuss extensively in her native language, thereby giving her opportunities to acquire new vocabulary in Chinese. Oral discussions in Chinese should also include all content areas. Cummins writes, conceptual knowledge developed in one language helps to make input in the other language comprehensible. If a child already understands the concepts of justice or honesty in her own language, all she has to do is acquire the label for these terms in English. She has a far more difficult task, however, if she has to acquire both of them and the concept in her second language. Strengthening Jamie's written proficiency. Working on developing strong sentence would be a huge benefit for Jamie. By breaking down sentence writing to its fundamental components, Jamie will be better at the writing process as a whole. Also, the focus should be put on grammatical morphemes. The teacher should explicitly teach inflectional suffixes and subject-verb agreement. Jamie should also be encouraged to move away from pattern language writing and should be provided with a structural framework that will help lead her to more narrative writing. Jamie should also be provided with proper exposure to new vocabulary words. Also, she should have frequent opportunity to use these words in her writing. A learner needs to have meaningful encounters with a new word before it becomes firmly established in memory. Paul Nation. Creating the best learning environment for Jamie. Creating the best learning environment for Jamie. A positive classroom environment with low stress and anxiety should be established. Using small group instruction for activities that will target Jamie's writing needs will greatly help her in the long run. Providing Jamie with opportunities for both input and output in both formal language learning and informal language learning acquisition is a must. Scaffolded instruction should be frequently used. Jamie should be allowed to access technology in order to strengthen her vocabulary by looking at pictures. All objects in the classroom should be labeled in both English and Chinese to promote new word acquisition and recognition. Reading libraries with books in Chinese and English should be provided. Also, teachers should take the time to learn about the Chinese culture to better identify with Jamie and her family. Thank you.